afternoon, everybody here. Papa Jah here, founder and executive director of the African Leadership Group. It's truly an honor to be here with you. And as you can see, we just wrap up a very important meeting and presentation about the COVID-19. And we had members of the Health and Wellness Committee, Abdul Pesima and Sharman Musata, that really gave valuable information. We'll start this presentation or conversation by just reminding you the flu shot clinic that we have that's coming up this Saturday. But we wanted to come back and have a conversation about the result of the election. As you know, when we had the first presidential debate, you did see a video that I did to express how concerned we were as a community for the lack of leadership that was showcased on the presidential debate. And we, as a community, we were very concerned. And I think also as a community, we were always talking and asking people to register to vote and to make sure they go vote. Now, we hope that the election is over. Now, we did register to vote. Now, we did cast our vote for whoever we voted for. The big question is, now what? What is the next step for us after we went through the election, after we voted for some candidate? Some of them won, some of them lost. Now we just wanted to get into this conversation. So I'm joined today here by Amadou Jang, that very involved in the community and work for ALG. But Amadou also loves politics. He's a young star that really is engaged politically. And it's always important to get our youth perspective when it comes to this. So I'm also joined by Abdul Pesima, the African Leadership Group Board of Director, but at the same time also the chair of the Health and Wellness Committee, that will also share with us some of his perspective on the election. We are also joined with nobody than Sharman Musata, very involved in the community, that also we just want to give our perspective. But also know anything you're going to be hearing here is just our point of view. This is not something that we put a stamp that this is how the community feel. And as you know, the African Leadership Group is a non-partisan organization. We are not here to tell you who to vote for, but we are here to only ask you to represent the best interest of the community. So I'm going to start with a tough question. Okay? I'm going to start with just an open-ended question. Sharman, what did you think about the election? Who did you vote for and why?
Okay. The election, my take on it is that I got a scare the day they were giving the result, but I was pleased with the result, the outcome, because I voted for the Democratic ticket. And as someone who is into science and research, you need a ticket that relies on science to make well-informed decisions. So, yeah, and so I think it's a good thing. The ticket that won, Biden and Kamala, it is going to bring us back to some of the things that President Obama started and they kind of got removed. I'm talking specifically of the precision medicine initiative that President Obama announced in 2015 at the State of the Union, which basically it encourages what I was explaining earlier about the inclusion of people, ethnic diversity, racial diversity, and belief and cultural beliefs when designing policies, and especially in research.
Great. Let me ask you this follow-up question. Are you a registered Democrat voter, independent, or Republican?
I go with an independent, but I tend to vote always Democratic.
Excellent, excellent. And you hear it from Sharman, he's registered as an independent but voted for the Democratic ticket. So Abdul, I'm going to come to you last. Okay, I'm going to go to Amadou. And Amadou, I know you've been following the election closely and even during the campaign, and I know that you are a youngster that's very involved politically. So tell us who you voted for and why.
I will not tell you who I voted for, but I will tell you who won and why they won later on. But I will not tell you who I voted for.
Okay, so and that's his right, as we know that when it comes to the election and the vote, it's a secret. So and we respect that, and that's something we respect. But Abdul, I've known you as a Democrat, registered Democrat, and I've known you and I've seen you really campaign for the Democratic Party. I want to know, why did you register as a Democrat? Do you relate to the Democratic value more than the Republican value? And why do you think the Biden-Harris ticket will do better than Trump and Pence?
Well, I am registered as a Democrat, but in actual fact, in terms of values, I think I have both values. I do have some Republican values as well as Democratic values. But I've been voting a Democrat for some time now, actually.
Okay.
For some time now, I've been voting Democrat, and the basic reason why I voted Democratic this time especially, is to bring some kind of sensibility to the country, respect to the country, love back into view, and the aspect of people being able to talk to one another, sit down and talk to one another instead of crying down somebody else, instead of saying all kinds of things about somebody else just because you don't agree with their own views. I think we can still work together, we can still talk together, we can still do things together to progress generally the whole country, not an individual your own point of view only.
Okay.
So that's one of the basic reasons why I have been pushing, I've been working very, very hard to make sure that we have this victory that we have right now.
Great. Yeah, well, yes, you call it a victory because I've seen a lot of people celebrate this. I've seen a lot of people got very emotional about this election. So let me ask this follow-up question, and I'm going to ask this question to you. How has it been for you for the last 4 years as President Trump, as president of this country? How did you live the last 4 years that with President Trump as president of the United States of America?
It's been complicated. It's not an easy 4 years. First of all, for me, being an immigrant, being a Muslim, so it's a lot of those things that there's something that he just says that you feel threatened, and you see people being bold, and you see people being assaulted publicly, and those things just they just make you put your guards up. And we've seen how he's taken positions again and again, and he's just been on the wrong side for a lot of issues. When he says there was good people on both sides, when we're talking about counter protesting, when we're talking about white supremacists who are protesting, and we've seen him just say fire those MFs when we talk about the NFL and black athletes protesting in the most peaceful way that you can ever do that. And so we've heard him call the African countries a name that I will not say, just out of respect. That's been heard. On another point, as someone who studies international studies and follows international policy, there has been some kind of a retreat on the international stage that I kind of appreciate. Trump is one of the presidents, or I think the past 6 presidents, who has not started a war during his tenure. He has done some things. He has made efforts to bring back some American troops back to the country, and I am on the side. I do not appreciate much of the interference that America and most of other countries have on the international stage. So on that side of things, there was something that I did appreciate, or something that I did agree on with Trump on, but mostly it's just been some hard 4 years.
Great. Well, good point. And that's what we want. Here at the African Leadership Group, we just want to be fair all the time. We just don't want to talk about things we did not like. We also want to talk about things we like. And to that point, I really applaud you for identifying also some of the things that you like about President Trump's presidency. So, Shoma, now, as an independent, you could go either way. because that's the role of an independent. So now, if you have a message for the leaders of the Republican Party of why they did not get your vote for this time, and what else do you foresee in the future from the party for them to have a chance to get your vote, what would you tell them?
Well, let me just say, first start by saying that the 4 years have been very challenging. Yes, we have the COVID pandemic that came, but for people of colors, the 4 years of President Trump have been very challenging. Challenging in the sense that no one man has solutions for everything. And what do I mean by that? What I mean that when you want the unity, when you claim you want something to build, there is a diversity within the unity. What makes the unity is the fact of bringing diverse component of something to create that unity.
Mm-hmm.
And the good example I would take is that each part of an elephant by itself, it's nothing. But when you put them together, that's why the elephant gets its shape, its form, its strength, everything to identify it as an elephant. America has lost that identity within the 4 years, not only from the perspective of us immigrants living in America, but also overseas. And I think the change will bring back the civility and the respect, like Abdul was mentioning. And with that, there are things that we will do, we have to continue to do, is the most important thing is dignity of every human being. No matter where you come from, I believe that every person is on this earth for a given purpose. I may not know my purpose. I may still be searching for it. But allow everyone, create a condition for everyone to fulfill their potentials.
Great.
And that's what I see is it gives that back to the peace of mind to begin to search what is good for your family, what is good for your community, what is good for your state or the country overall.
Well, and that's a good point. As African, we know that we value those words, dignity, respect, and that's what President-elect Biden ran his campaign on, to establish the soul of the country, campaign on character, those are things. So I will come back to the presidential election, but we also have a lot of local things that was happening here. I want us to touch on it a little bit. And by the way, we want to give a shout out and congratulations to our sister Nakida for making history. Mm-hmm. And we'll look forward to have you here to talk about your election and how you've planned to work with the community. But yes, there were other things that was on the ticket as well. We had the senator race, and it's interesting to see that Senator Cory Gardner was among the few senators from the Republican Party that lost their seat to former Governor Hickenlooper. So I just want to ask you, what is your take? Why do you think for Senator Cory Gardner, after being the Senate for many years actually, to lose to somebody like former Governor Hickenlooper, what do you think that triggered that? And knowing that the history of Colorado, it was red and now turned purple and now turning to blue state. So Abdul, did you follow the race, and what's your take on it?
I did follow the race a lot, very, very closely. I was not really happy about his connection to President Trump. I think that's one of the major reasons he probably lost, because of his close connection to President Trump, who seemed to have downgraded, human life, humanity practically. If you are not with him or part of his race as such, then you are nothing else, as such, and so I think that's one of the reasons why he lost, but practically Governor Hickenlooper, did run a very, very good campaign, very, very good campaign. I mean, in spite of all what he started saying about him, I mean, we were getting so tired of all the assault that he put upon him, but he never assaulted him back. in a sense, and he just kept on what he wanted to do, and that was really, really good. That's the way to run a campaign, making sure that you emphasize on what you want to do, for your people and for your state.
That's great. Well said. Well said. I want to come to you and talk about the Congress race with Steve House and Jason Crow. And we are all very familiar with Jason Crow.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also a race that was very important, knowing that was the second term for Congressman Jason Crow. Is it a race you will follow and you were following? And why do you think Congressman Crow did so well?
It was a race that I was following and interested in, especially because it was a district that Jason Crow was the first Democrat to be elected in that district, and that was something that we saw in 2018. There was about 25 Republican seats that the Democrats were able to turn over. And as results started to come in this election, we saw that Republicans throughout the nation was able to get back 10 of those. But Jason Crow's was an exception, and I think just the fact that he was able to get a second term in that district just confirms the fact that Colorado is moving blue in blue, but also his district is now can now be considered as a strong blue, because once you turn over a seat, maybe for your first term, you cannot be that confident, and that may still be it might still be a purple or bluish district, but I think now we can say that it is in fact a blue district. Also, another thing is within the 2 years he's been in Congress, he has ascended, and he has been able to be a part of the Democratic leadership. We saw that he was one of the congressmen who were chosen to prosecute the case of impeachment against the president. So I think it's a victory that is well deserved.
Yeah, great. And most importantly, as far as I'm concerned, he is a friend of the community. Mm-hmm. And I'm a believer of giving credit where credit is due. And Congressman, you've been present, you've been involved when you were asking for a vote for your first term, and you've been involved during, and you were involved after. So that's something that I always want to give you credit for. It doesn't mean that the African Leadership Group campaigned for you, but it means that you are a close friend of the community, and you've been present and involved in anything that we needed you to be involved. Now, I want to put things on the table now, okay? This is a time where, for me, it needs to get real, okay? We all heard it in the past where we complain about the Democratic Party taking our vote for granted. We all seen it where people, when they want our vote, we see them. After they get it, they disappear. And I know in the past that's something we complained about the Democratic Party. So for me, Chama, to you, if there's anything that the Democratic Party and the people that was elected from the Democratic Party, if there's anything that they should learn from, especially when it comes to our community. We cannot speak for other communities, but when it comes to our community, what advice do you have for the Democratic Party to keep this relationship going, for them to have the chance to have our vote at all times?
Wow, that's an interesting question, and it comes always down to engagement. Engaging people. You do not have to wait for the election to create connection with people. As a human being, we all are there. We exist because of others. So when you tend to need people only because of something you need, it shows up. And therefore the Democratic Party has to do an effort to reach out to its communities. When I say, not only saying, okay, we have to be sensitive to this, no, showing actions. The people of the black community have to see actions that improve the quality of their lives. It is that outcome, when they see a change in the quality of life, that change will maintain that engagement and will maintain those relationships, and that's how you keep going. But the fact that the Democratic only come when they need it, they need the people for the vote, that time has passed. And the same message I take to hospitals when I talk to executives is that the old model of waiting for someone to get sick and then come to the hospital has passed. These days, hospitals have to have programs to go meet the people within their communities and work programs that make you so your brand is known, so your image is known, so you know the real problems of the people. The democratic leaders have to do that with the minority or especially the black communities.
If you are a democratic leader, you heard it very well from Sharman, and he said it specifically. He said the time where you were only showing up during election time, those times are long gone. As our community, we are looking to establish relationship. We want to break bread together. We want to sit around the table. And most importantly, we want to be involved in the solution finding to our issue. You've heard it, not from me, but you heard it from Sharman. Abdullah, I'm going to come to you, and I'm going to ask this question to you because of the wisdom that you have as a chaplain. I want the elected official to know, what do we expect from them? So what are our expectations when it comes to the elected official? If people are elected into office, what do we want to see them do and especially represent us for?
I think one of the most important things is that they should realize that it is the Coloradans that elected them into that office. And when they get down there in DC, Washington, DC, you should represent us, not the party. Okay, I know that the party has different aspects, different aspects, the progressive, the this and that, whatever it is. But it is us, the Coloradans, that have voted you into office to represent us in Washington, D.C. And as best as possible, you should work for the interest of Colorado and nobody else but Colorado. And that's the first priority I think they should put up before, to propagate or to push the interest of Colorado first before anything else.
Well, if you are from Senegal or you are from a French-speaking country, they always say la patrie avant le parti. Okay? So the people before the party. That's exactly what Abdou said. I'm going to come to you now because for me, I'm a believer of anybody that want to help me, I want to help them help me. Okay? We always want to create the platform for them to understand what are our needs. Let's talk about now as a community. What are those things that are important to whoever happened to be watching us? They hear from us. They know these things. Here are the things that's very important to us. So from your perspective, from your view, what are the things that you think that are relevant and important to our community that the elected official should know about?
There's many of them. And as you said, we have to help people help us, but I think they're the ones that need the help here, right? They came to us asking for our votes, and so they should already be educated. But just in case they're not, or they seem to forget what those are, education is a big one. Education is a big one. The African immigrant community is growing. We have things that are unique to our community. Most of our parents are challenged linguistically, meaning that the communication that we're getting does not work for us. And so as they try and reform the laws of education, they need to pay attention to that and think about the diversity that is within within our communities. Healthcare is a big one. We have community members who do not have papers, and so for them it's harder. It's even impossible to get any healthcare insurance at all. So what can we do to make sure that healthcare is affordable for those people as well? And I understand the argument that these are people who are illegal, but these are also people, even if they came to this country illegally, they are contributing to the economy somehow. We talked about this last time. The people who are here legally and who are not citizens yet, how do you make sure, because they're working, but also they pay their taxes, but also their kids should be served in our education system. They themselves should be served in our healthcare system, because they are taxpayers, although they're not citizens yet. How do we make sure that also their voices are heard when it comes to board district education board district elections? How do we make sure that our community is being heard in all these different factors? But also, immigration is a big one. We have a lot of members of our communities who are waiting, who are waiting for their hearings in immigration court. A lot of them do not speak English, and so that becomes a problem when you go to court and you do not speak the language, and sometimes the people who are translating do not take in fact that depending on which country you're from, even the language itself varies, and so there's that lack of understanding. But there's also, you can go to a court and not see anybody who looks like you, and that's just a big problem. I think that in Colorado we have surpassed a number of black judges being appointed this year, which is something that's historic, and especially black women judges. That's something that we applaud, but we also need to build on that and make sure that transcends into every other factor of our society.
Great, thank you. Sharma, I want to talk about education, health reform, immigration reform. Is there anything else that these elected officials should know about our needs when it comes to working with us?
Yes, but let me first turn the arrow toward ourselves. I like what you said earlier, that or if someone wants to help me, I want also to make sure that I'm helping them. That's the human nature. It is also time for us to get out the mindset of sitting and just waiting. We have also to be the one, I'm speaking directly to the leaders of our communities, is we have to be able to come together as leaders. Actually, there's an initiative that I started now, reaching out to create a kind of like the alliance of African leaders, community leaders of each country, whatever association is, to be that platform where let's discuss issues, not only of everyone, but what are the real challenging issues of your specific community. How well do you know your community? What are those challenges? And then have those leaders at a certain point be able to be that those the leaders to create the bridge with the political leaders. So let's get engaged on our side. Say that, hey, we did our part, but we here, we want to work, we want the relationships. We have a lot of issues. Come and listen to our issues. On the other side, the leaders of political leaders, they have to understand that. I don't like to use the word "I have to" because now I'm forcing my point of view on everyone. But it's human nature to feel welcomed. Once you're welcome, you're able to express yourself as a human being, your creativity, everything shows. But if you not feel welcome in the society or the community where you live in, where they tend to remember you for elections, then your creativity, everything that you bring with you is stifled. So please, 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 let's work the African communities, and ALG is a platform where you can come and reach to other communities here in the Denver Metro, and we
Excellent. So, Abdul, you hear from Amadou and Sharma. Amadou talk about education, health, care, immigration reform. Are there any other issue that you think of that the elected officials should know about?
I'm thinking mostly about trying to understand cultures, relate to the different cultures that we do have these days, in the Denver Metro or the Denver, Colorado as such. I think the elected people should try as best as possible to understand that Colorado is changing. They probably know that already anyway. You know, Colorado is changing. There are so many different cultures, and trying to see how they can relate with those cultures. You know, that's another thing I think I would like to see added to the education and healthcare that Amadou already mentioned. You know, I would like to see how they can be able to understand a bit more of the cultures that we have here now in Colorado.
That's great. Thank you. So, and for me, the message that I have, it's a two-part message, and I have one for the elected official and I have one for the community. And for elected officials, this is what I will share with you. As you heard from the panelists we have here, most of us are independent. Most of us have those conservative value, and I can guarantee you that our community will not just vote for party affiliation. We don't believe in that. We believe in the person or the party that will represent our best interests. And I can tell you openly, and you should know this by now, that the African Leadership Group is a non-partisan organization. We don't promote, we don't campaign any party. However, we look forward to always engage and work with parties, and we've done it in the past. We have worked extremely well with some elected official. So, and I can tell you right here, right now, that the former Governor Hickenlooper reached out to me, people from his campaign, and this is what I've shared with them. We haven't had the chance to engage with the former governor. We haven't had the chance to see him engage with our community. Now he's elected, so our expectation is for him to show up to this platform and engage with our community. You cannot ask for our support from distance. We're not expecting you to have you here every time, but at least we expect to see you once. And it just goes to all the elected officials. Some have done a good job. For others, this might be a good time and a good opportunity for you. But never expect our community to vote for you just because you are part of the Democratic Party or you are part of the Republican Party. For our fellow Republican leaders, just know you are very welcome, because some of you have engaged with us in the past. We would love to keep working with you until you get back to wherever you are wishing, but also working to represent our best interests. To the community, Sharma have said it extremely well. And I will never get tired of saying this, because that's one thing that we believe in. We always say, if you're not at the table, you are on the menu. We cannot go from round of election to round of election where we always complain, saying like, oh, this party did not engage with us, they did not come see us. This is time for us that we've done the same thing our sister Nakida have done. We need more people from our community running for office. We're smart, we have the education, we are capable, and nobody can represent your best interest better than yourself. So those of us that really have the capability, the ability, please come engage with us. There are leadership programs, there are public speaking classes. We will work with you. But the best way for me is to have more people from our community engage politically so we can hold this elected official accountable. We are getting to the end of our show, but I would like to get a last closing remark word, knowing that we have a president-elect, we have a vice president-elect. So now, how should 2021 would be? What are our expectations? So Abdul, with all the things that's happening, what is your last word to our viewers?
The last word that I have is that let's give a chance to our new elected leaders, the president-elect Biden, as well as the vice president-elect Kamala Harris. Let's give them a chance, to be able to bring us back together, to bring some sensibility and unity and respect, not only in our country but also in the world. And give them some time. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen tomorrow or January 21st. But just remember that, give them some chance. Keep them in your prayers, just like we were praying also for the former president, Trump. So give them some chance also. Keep on praying for them and keep them in your memory.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So, Shama, last word to our viewers.
Well, the last word to the viewers is that as a community, we all have done things in our life. We may not notice it, realize it, but there's nothing riskier than what you have achieved in your life. Coming to America, leaving everyone behind you, there's no tougher decision in your life than that. That shows your courage, your boldness in life. Therefore, there should be nothing that can stop you to be engaged in American society and to be able to contribute to build the kind of society you want to be living in. And we are all, as builders of communities, so let's work together and let's stay connected with the elected officials and to get our voices heard.
Great, thank you so much. Amadou, your last word for 2021?
My last word is this is where the work begins. This was an election where we really do not know where Biden stands on a lot of things, on healthcare, on free college, on even on the environment. Policies were not clear, so this is the time before there is a cabinet that we do our work on who those will be chosen. The people, the Secretary of State, we need to know who that is. If you care about international studies, the Secretary of Education, we need to know who that will be if we care about education. So the work begins now, and we have to put pressure on them, make sure that they are keeping their promises, and that has to start right now.
Well, you heard it all. You heard it all from different perspectives, from independent, Democrat, to somebody that wouldn't share who they vote for. But the good thing is,
people are asking, who did you vote for?
I'm the journalist here. I am the journalist. I ask the question here, okay? So, but on a serious note, this is what I want to end with. And this is, some of this wisdom, I get it from spending time with my big brother, Professor Majama. And when you hang out with knowledge, you always get wisdom around you. And they always say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with people. Let's go together. And this is not something that the African Leadership Group can do alone. This is not something the Ethiopian community can do alone. But when we come together, we are powerful beyond measure. There's a lot of things we can do. When we come to talking about holding the elected official accountable, they know if it's just the Senegalese community, they might be just a couple of thousand. But they know that if the entire African community come together, we're talking about an electoral vote that can make it go one way or another. So my ask of the community, even though we already voted for a presidential elect, to Amadou's point, the work is starting right now. Let's keep working together. Let's keep supporting each other. But most importantly, let's keep identifying each other's needs. Because education is vague, but there's a lot of things that goes into it. Healthcare is a lot of things. There's a lot of things that goes into it. But how do we create platform community can be informed, can be educated, so they can make a wise decision? The African Leadership Group is a house with a door open to all of you. And I want to share with you that Amadou is working on a show with the kids, actually, that they're going to come and share their perspective on this election. For some odd reason, this election was interested at many levels. So the kids will be here, 6 years old, 7 years old, high school student. They're going to share their perspective because we want to get our kids involved at early age. I wouldn't end without thanking our technicians that are here in the house. Keto Radio is here helping us. Thank you so much, brother. It's always a pleasure to see you. We have the only Professor Majama in the house. He's a professor, he's a technician that always make us look good on the camera. So we want to thank him. But remember, this coming Saturday, the African Leadership Group Flu Shot Clinic, hosted by the Health and Wellness Committee, where we look forward to having you and seeing you there. Till next time, make it a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.